Hello, Internet. I'm here with a cat, apparently. So I had a conversation with a guy randomly at Barnes & Noble. There's a Barnes & Noble not far from here that I sometimes walk to with my laptop. I know a guy who works there. I worked there 9 years ago? No, maybe 10 years ago? Something like that. But I worked there for a little while, and actually I quit working at Barnes & Noble to work on SciPets full time. And I think that worked for like a year and a half or something, if that. Yeah, that didn't work out. There were a lot of reasons. SciPets wasn't well adjusted for mobile gaming, and Facebook games were taking off at about that time. And I don't know, maybe I was doing stupid things. I don't know. It was a long time ago. I don't think I did anything that would have screwed me over monetarily. I don't know, but the money just kind of was ever decreasing from the game at the time. But anyway, I still go there now and again just to because I still know I still know a guy who works there. Actually, there's a couple people who still work there that I know. So it's cool to say hi, and then I hang out in the cafe with my laptop and program. But anyway, a guy came up to me or he sat down a couple seats away from me and was like, "Hey, are you programming?" I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, whenever I see the black text, the black screen with text on it, I know that someone's programming. I was like, "Yeah, okay, that seems accurate." I guess he has some friends who program or know some people who program or something, but isn't a programmer himself. But we got to talking. I don't know. He wanted to talk. He was a friendly guy. I guess he felt like talking. And then once we were done talking, he just left. So did he sit down explicitly to talk to me? Very strange. I don't know. Maybe he's just a very social guy. But so we were talking about a number of things. He's asking kind of, I don't know. Yeah, he's asking all kinds of questions. What was his goal? I have no idea. Again, maybe social people. I just don't understand. Sorry, I was putting down the cat. But anyway, so he is apparently a middle school counselor, and we were kind of talking about. So one thing I was talking about, and this relates to the game I'm making now, right? Maslow's Pets, as it's currently being called. I'm still trying to think. Whatever. I'll come up with another name eventually. I'm jotting down ideas, but nothing is really stuck for me. But anyway, let's just say Maslow's Pets. He was asking about where I work as a programmer and stuff, and there's a couple big companies around here, programming wise. Willow Tree is definitely the largest, at least I'm aware of. Sorry, I was looking over at the cat. I don't know if she wants something. Probably go outside, but she'll have to wait. But anyway, so, I mentioned I'm making a game, and that I've made games before, and he was like, "Oh, is that something you want to do for a living?" and all these things. And I was telling him, well, I don't know. So how this relates to SciPets and Maslow's Pets. With SciPets, one of the problems I had, I'm just a terrible business person. I care much less about making money than I do about making something that is enjoyable and fun and moral, I would say. Microtransactions are just so gross. A lot of mobile gaming is. I refuse to be gross. Capitalism is an interesting thing, right? Very, very good, very useful, has done many good things, but prioritizing money is not the same as prioritizing the happiness of individuals. And I don't know, I feel like I see a lot of cases where the two are in fact total opposites, where prioritizing money deprioritizes the happiness of individuals. And I felt, maybe because I ran SciPets for a while, I felt that, and maybe that really solidified my belief there, but I've always been skeptical of advertising is just gross, right? Half of it is trying to make people feel bad about themselves in order to give you money, and it's just also gross. So anyway, so I'm a bad business person, right? And I had that problem with SciPets. So the thing that happened with SciPets is once I was doing it full time and it was like, oh, it pays my rent now, is I would come to these points where I'd have to make this decision, where I would come up with a cool idea or whatever. No, that's a separate topic. It's hard to predict what people are going to like, right? So I don't know, some things I make, it seems cool in my head, on paper, put it in the game, it's not as fun as people thought. And then sometimes things that I think are kind of meaningless and nothing actually turn out to be hugely successful for whatever reason, right? It's just hard to predict what people want. But anyway, I come up with an idea that I believe is good. Whether or not it will be, again, who knows. But then I would sit there and go, okay, I think this is going to be really fun. I think it might be fun enough that I could charge people money for it as like a kind of add-on feature. But that always felt kind of gross because, again, like what I'm saying by making that decision is you can't have fun with this game unless you pay money, right? That's like the implicit, right? That's what comes out of that decision, because I could just make it for free and then everyone could have fun, but I'm saying, nope, I'm going to limit your fun unless you pay me money. That's unfortunate. That's not what I want to do in a game. I want a game that is maximally fun for as many people as possible, right? I don't think that, yeah, I don't know. So the kind of subscription-y model that SciPets was, I think has that problem more than like Mysterious Space, right? Which I guess now that I've named it, I'll link it in the description below. But that is a game that's just you buy it and then it's yours. Done, right? If you thought it was a good thing to buy, then you buy it for $10. If you don't like it, you return it, and then fine, right? And then you have a game, and then you can play it as much as you want, however you want, and it's yours, right? Essentially. But subscription model isn't like that. The subscription model is you're going to pay. Let's say it was Mysterious Space, and I thought $10 was a fair price for a lifetime. I might say, okay, I'll charge you $4 a month, $3 a month. I don't know. Thinking that, yeah, for a lot of people, they might play it for a month or two and be done, and so I'm not quite making $10, but some people will really like it. And in fact, now my motivation, since I've made it a subscription thing, is I have to find ways to make people keep coming back, right? Because I want to keep getting their money. And that's where things start to get gross, and that's where we get into all these gross mobile games and microtransactions things and addictive gameplay mechanics, daily quests and things like that, right? All that stuff is there to form a habit to get people to come back every day to where they don't like it when they can't. And that means that they're willing to subscribe to all these things, right? So it's interesting with the web game. On the other hand, for something like a browser-based game or any game with any sort of online component is, the reality is that whoever is running that game needs to pay for server costs, right? So they do have monthly expenses, and if they can't keep paying for those, then whatever, right? And even if not, even if it was like Mysterious Space, right? The model for I made a game, you bought it, done. Now I need to either make DLC or make a new game, or what a lot of AAA companies, right, they have like these loot boxes, and those are pretty gross. So gross, in fact, that some company or countries are like, hey, you can't do that. Or there's strict limitations on it, or other limitations. The European Union has done some things. And I think, again, some countries, I think particularly Asian, there's some Asian ones that just outright said, no, you can't do it, which is very interesting. It makes me, I don't know, right? I don't know with the different cultures or whatever, with different values. In that case, I feel are more correct, but whatever. Separate topic. So anyway, so I was telling the guy about that, like, right? He was asking, hey, you know, would you want to make games full time? I was like, well, I don't know. You know, in some ways it is ideal to have this job that now part-time job, even more ideal for me, where I can make a bunch of money doing something I don't quite like, but I like well enough, right? Like the stuff we make for work, I don't personally care. It's not a product I'm interested in. It's not a product I'm interested in talking about. I mean, it's stocks and options stuff. Who cares? Some people do. Some people very do, right? That's why it sells. But I don't. I don't care at all. But I care about games, right? And I care about games such that I don't want to make sacrifices in the games just to make money, which makes me think that I wouldn't, you know, in my experience with SciPets, again, I don't think I would want to do that as a job, as a full-time job, to pay my rent and pay my food and, you know, all that stuff, to have to rely on it that way would make me make decisions I wouldn't want to make, basically, right? So we talked a little about that, and I asked him, you know, it's like, oh, as a middle school counselor, I guess you probably don't have those kinds of decisions, would you, right? Like, it's not like you're going to think, oh, I want to say this thing to a student, but I can't because I want to say something different to make more money, right? Like, you're not trying to get money out of the middle school students, right? And he was like, well, you know, that's true, but there are times when I have to reprioritize things because of other requirements of my job, right? Like he was saying, sometimes there are students that he feels are in some sort of crisis mode, and he wishes he could give them more help. But he can't. He has other responsibilities for work. Maybe he has to, you know, there's paperwork, there's other students, you know, there's all these things that, sorry, I'm gonna get the cat off me again. Sorry, Mia. yeah, so he does feel like there are sacrifices he has to make because, it's not so much that he's trying to get money out of his students, but he's trying to get money out of his employer, I guess you would say. And that's an interesting way to think about it. I guess I feel a little better about that. Schools are different, right? If it was like a company, right? Like if I was working for some ginormous company like Microsoft or Amazon, I'd be like, who cares about them? Yeah, take all the money from a company you can, right? I mean, they're taking as much money from people as they can. Turnabout's fair play, maybe. I don't know. I wouldn't feel bad about that. But a school is a different sort of situation too. I don't know. I got the impression he was working for a public school, and it's like, wow, they have funding problems and things like that, right? So I don't know, right? Whatever. And now I'm working for a small company. I feel in ways bad about what I did going part-time because in a way, I was like, yeah, I can get away with this, right? So, yeah, interesting. I don't know, right? Companies as things that you think of, they are made of people, but they're different from people. It's all a very strange thing. Anyway, so yeah, what does that mean for this thing, Maslow's pets, as we're going to call it for now? I don't know. How do I want to monetize it? I don't know. Do I want to monetize it? I don't know. It would be cool to. It would be cool if it was a way to supplement my income. But how can I do it in a way where I don't have to make sacrifices or choices that I feel are gross or disrespectful toward the players or whatever. I don't know. There's one cool thing. There are things around today that weren't around when I ran SciPets. Things like Patreon, right? So I've not interacted with Patreon much as a patron or as someone running a thing. What do they call those people on Patreon? I don't know. Anyway, so I don't know much about the platform, right? That's something I would have to look into. And is it good? I know that there's rewards that you put out for people who pay different amounts. Maybe they get special chats. I've seen things like that. Like I've definitely I follow some YouTube channels who are like, oh, join our Patreon. You can join our cool chat or whatever, right? Oh gosh, I'm sorry, Mia, but I'm trying to do stuff. She made a funny noise. She wants attention. It's okay. I'm at about 12 minutes. So anyway, I guess that it was an interesting conversation, right? Didn't expect to have that conversation at work. Or sorry, not at work, but at Barnes & Noble while I was working on Maslow's Pets. And yeah, interesting and I don't know, right? An insight into how I think about things. It does make me lean more toward kind of standalone experiences like Mysterious Space, right? Making something like that, I feel good about that. I put it up for sale, people buy it or they don't, great. The book that I need to get back to writing, it would be the same thing, right? You put a book out there, people buy it or they don't. Fine, right? There's no weird manipulative, nonsense going on with the book. You bought it and then you have it. It's even better in some ways than Steam, where it's like, Steam is like, who owns your game that you bought? I don't know. It's all very weird. Computers are weird. Computers are interesting things. But there are advantages to these kind of lifestyle, subscription-y MMO type, you could play forever games, right? I think lifestyle game is the phrase for it. It just feels a little weird, but I don't know. I just don't encounter it much, so it sounds weird to my ears still. But anyway, there are advantages to running those kinds of games. It's cool to have a game that can engage people forever, right? Like Mysterious Space, you might play for a little while, and then that's kind of it. And I mean, I could just keep making new content for Mysterious Space for free. And some games like Terraria have been doing that, and it really impresses me. Maybe there's enough people growing up, being born and growing up, that they have an ever-growing audience. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that's a model to experiment with as well. Like, could I, for Maslow's Pets, just be like, pay $10 once, you have access to everything. Done. Is that sustainable? I don't know. I'd feel pretty good about doing it that way. So yeah, things to think about. I guess I'm done. As usual, I've gone over the 10 minutes that I say I want to limit myself to. Sorry about that. But thanks for watching, as always. And I hope this was interesting. Leave any questions you may have in the comments below. And yeah, I'll link to Maslow's Pets, of course, and other things that I mentioned in the descriptions. Bye.